I think Snoqualmie Ridge, and all I think is Snoqualmie Falls, and because that years ago that was what was out there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I'm here today to talk to you about a great neighborhood. You talk about kind of people having to move a little farther away from these giant cities because the cost of living has gone up so much. Mm-hmm. In Snoqualmie, we have this beautiful neighborhood. I call it the jewel of the East Side. It is a spectacular, gorgeous suburb where you can get a fabulous, fabulous house for a fraction of the price that you would pay in Issaquah, Bellevue, or Seattle.
And so when people start to, I guess, I don't know how people maybe start their home search, because it seems to me that these are two very distinctly different areas. I don't know if people start in Bellevue and end up at Snoqualmie Ridge, or people are thinking, well, geez, I'd actually prefer to live further out, and they kind of start their search there. Do you see people who are starting in one area and ending up there, or do most people have an idea of what they want before they start looking?
No, it's funny. A lot of people discover Snoqualmie Ridge after they have already exhausted all of their searches in Bellevue and Issaquah and Seattle. And the reason for that is because once they learn and get educated on how high the home prices are in those areas, they can't believe their eyes when they see the prices out in Snoqualmie Ridge. And, one of the reasons being that it's 10 minutes further east on I-90. So you do have a little extra commute, but in that you get a far reduced home price for that, and a lot of home and a lot of yard. It's a great deal.
When you say 10 minutes from where?
Well, 10 minutes east on I-90 from, say, the
in Seattle, nobody does anything by miles, right?
Right,
everything is 10 minutes away, 30 minutes away. I have no idea how far anything actually is in mileage. So
absolutely. Well, to clear it up, it's 30 miles east of Seattle, it's 20 miles east of Bellevue, and it's 10 miles east of Issaquah. And it's a straight shot on I-90, so the commute is very, very easy.
And real close to skiing and all that it has to offer.
Oh my gosh. It is. So this is the best part. So not only are you a little bit removed from the city and the bigger congested areas, but you are among a gazillion different golf courses out there, right close in your backyard. We have the TPC up there in Snoqualmie Ridge, but we are also only 20 minutes away from skiing, great skiing, Snoqualmie Pass, of course, with the ski resorts there. So it's just a tremendous location.
When you start talking about people living there, and there's the amenities, there is kind of the outdoorsy. Is it outdoorsy people who live out there?
It's really
rather than us city folk.
No, it's a blend. I've been living there for 10 years, and I'm not your typical outdoorsy person, but I do love to golf. I do love to ski, so we attract a lot of those kind of folks. A lot of people like to hike. And we have a tremendous amount of hiking trails in Snoqualmie Ridge and nearby, Little Si, Mount Si Trail, all of these hikes, et cetera. So it's just, if you like that kind of thing, and most people in the Northwest are drawn to the outdoor activities, we do offer a lot of those amenities there.
Becky Lauer joins me from Thomas L. Macy Real Estate. Becky, so what becomes, I guess, what are some of the other draws of being out there? Because it's a little bit less expensive. You have the outdoors. What about schools? And, what is that like? Because it's kind of a newer community, right?
It's fairly new. It really started to grow in 1998, and of course started to just expanded ever since then. But one of the biggest draws beyond price is the absolute sheer beauty of the neighborhood. I mean, we have a backdrop of the Cascade Mountains. It is just the most pristine, spectacular, gorgeous neighborhood you've ever seen, first of all. Secondly, the community spirit there is off the charts. It is so high. So if you are looking for a big social scene, lots of friends, a tight-knit community, that is what you're going to get in Snoqualmie Ridge. The schools are award-winning. Right in Snoqualmie Ridge, we have an award-winning elementary school, Cascade View Elementary, with fabulous teachers. And like I said, it's award-winning. We are very well served out there. So it's a huge draw. And so what is the price difference? I mean, when you start looking at similar style houses, and we 10 or 20 minutes in, you look at Bellevue in some parts, of course, 20 minutes in a Bellevue are not really a fair comparison, but right.
There are certain things. How do the prices stack up?
Well, here's how they stack up. Well, if you want to go apples to apples, the median home price in Snoqualmie Ridge today is $478,000. But if you just go one neighboring neighborhood over, the Issaquah Highlands, just for an example, the average, the median home price there is $539,000, and so you're really talking a $50,000 plus difference for the same home. So it's a huge savings. It's 10% savings. Mm-hmm. So, it's a great price to go for a little further east.
And so
more
when
house.
I mean, you look at those averages, and a lot of these, I guess these are probably average single-family homes.
Right.
And so when you start looking at, I mean, are they similar structure? Because even the Issaquah Highlands isn't exactly an old community. I mean,
Well, yeah, they're both modern communities. They both have a large group of builders that have come in and built homes there. Everything from Quadrant Homes to Cam West, Murray Franklin, D.R. Horton, Connor Homes, all the way up to supreme luxury homes built by Buchan, Bernstead, and even custom homes. And they do have those similar builders out there in the Highlands as well. So it's a really fair comparison.
Mm-hmm. Do you tend to see a lot of people? Is that where people end their search, and then there's kind of nothing in between, right?
No,
not to make you feel like you're way out there, but I mean, you kind of have Issaquah Highlands, and then a whole bunch of trees, and then Snoqualmie, and then the mountains.
That's
or
right.
North Bend's out there too.
Well, yes. Okay, so
it's not in my bubble. Is what I'm saying,
well,
Becky.
That is why I'm here today. So, yes, you have it right. If we're talking big mammoth suburbs, you've got Issaquah Highlands, and then, like you said, you've got a bunch of trees, and then you've got Snoqualmie Ridge. But we do have smattering, little bitty pockets of desirable places to live as well. That are a little bit more rural, that maybe aren't the suburb feel, like Falls City, Preston, the Snoqualmie Valley, basically. But yeah, and we've got Squawk Mountain too, and we've got a lot of places that are kind of sort of surrounding and in between. But for the most part, those are the two main big neighborhoods.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so is that? I mean, is there a lot of? How many houses are out there? I mean, how many homes are out there?
A ton. They keep building. I mean, I want to say over 2,500 homes, probably more by now.
And so there's a solid amount of people, and they really are. When you talk about these newer communities, they have really kind of these social hubs. I mean, they've almost been engineered with, and there's the shopping center and here's the local bar and the pizza joint and all. I mean, it's all kind of engineered to be this perfect little community.
Oh, it is, and it does, and it works. I mean, the very first thing out in Snoqualmie Ridge was the TPC golf course, and so that was the only place to go to dinner, and you would go there. And now, 10 years later, it's just boomed. We've got an Italian restaurant, Thai restaurant, Indian restaurant, Mexican restaurant, an Irish pub, and it is very, very social, and it is all within walking distance of the main neighborhood. And it's just,
which works well for people who go to the Irish pub all the time.
It works great for the Irish pub people and for the Mexican place.
Yeah.
So.
And the small community, there's probably tons of babysitters out there.
There are tons of babysitters.
That's how I think now. I got 2 kids. I'm like,
you got to think about
awesome.
these things.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. No. It's a very, very social neighborhood with a lot of different eclectic restaurants there. All walking distance. Lots of community spirit. Lots of big social scene. It's just a lot of charm. The old joke in Snoqualmie Ridge is you can move in, but you can't move out, because typically what people do is once they move there, they tend to move up there within the neighborhood.
Yeah, rather than continuing on. It's
rather
not
than
transient,
continuing east. Yeah, they're not going to North Bend. Well, a few do. I did sell a home a couple months ago where the folks left and went to North Bend. Same kind of thing. The further east you go, you get more house for your money.
Drastically different feel than North Bend.
Different feel. Yeah, North Bend is very charming as well. It's just more rural, so you have to be prepared to be a little bit more on your own and not surrounded by tons and tons of neighbors. So it's kind of a personal choice.
Much older. North Bend is a much older city.
Right, much older city. Yeah, exactly. But they are getting a lot of new neighborhoods in there as well. So.